We'd like to welcome each and every individual to the Voices of Integrity podcast from our Boersma for Dummies. I don't know if you're getting tired of this, but I'm getting tired of this. I get tired of talking about myself. I really do. It's just like, really? I mean, why would anybody even want to listen? Anyways, but we got to get through it, right? We have 21. So we're on 16 right now, where Jim says, then this guy's going to expose you pretty quickly. So, but you need to be warned. So he's going to go ahead, Mark. Jim's talking about Mark, me. like, like he's going to be your best friend. He's going to be one of your best friends. Like if you have a sincere desire to grow, sincere desire to see your blind spots, like he's going to be one of your best friends. But you need to be warned also. Like here's a warning. Here's a warning. And that's the fact. If you don't want that, if you just want to go through the motions and try to keep walking down the path where you're blind to the things that are tripping you up and keeping you from being everything you need to be, then this guy's going to expose you pretty quick. So um, I've been blessed, to know a lot of really smart people, very successful people. And one of those is David Hancock. He's the president of Morgan James Publishing out in New York, and he's introduced me. He and I have known each other for a couple decades, and he introduced me to Michael Cogdill, and I think he was North Carolina, maybe. And I had two half-an-hour conversations with Michael. And on the second conversation I had with Michael, he said, "Hey, Mark, you're like an executive coach, right?" I said, "Yeah, that's what people call me. Yep." He says, "So you're a pretty good read of people, huh?" I said, "I don't know, maybe." He says, "What do you think of me?" And I laughed. I said, "Well, Michael," I said, "let me ask you a question first. 1 to 10, how direct do you want me to be?" And he's like, "Well, give me, yeah, 10, absolutely." I said, "Well, I need to explain something to you first. Like, I need to explain that, um, my two might feel like a 22." And he laughed and he said, Mark, I always love when testosterone kicks into men, especially the Christian white male over 50. You think you're, especially pastors, you think you're really smart. You think you're really confident. See, I got your number. See, my dad was like you because my dad was a pastor, white male over 50. Thought, yeah, yeah. So I got it. And so he laughs. He said, Mark, I'm in TV. They brutalize you in TV. This is what pastors think too. Oh, I so beat up. I so picked on. Like, like, okay. And he's like, you couldn't tell me something, Mark, that I haven't heard before. They absolutely brutalize you in TV. Yeah, no. And I laughed. I said, really, Michael? He's like, uh-huh. I said, well, Michael, has anybody ever told you you lack confidence? Dead silence on the phone. He's like, no. And then there's another pause, and he's like, you think I lack confidence? I said, well, Michael, in the last two kind of half-an-hour conversations we have, here are 5 things, and I listed them. Here are 5 things that would tend to go ahead and, show that you lack confidence. He's like, another pause. After I listed the 5, he says, dang, you're good. Wow. That's crazy, Mark. We had a coffee connection on Saturday, and there was an Amish couple. They own a couple businesses, and the wife was giggling. She said, first time we talked to Mark over the phone, she whispered to her husband, "This guy can see everything, like totally through us. Like we can't hide anything from this guy." And so, questions, ladies, or thoughts?
I think it's cool that you can do that and that you understand that you can communicate it to the person you're talking to. and that you have a list of why you came up with those, the reason he was um, not confident.
right? I mean, this isn't like, oh, I have a feeling. No, there are specific details. There are specific things. There's another guy that was at Coffee Connection, and he's engaged to be married in a few months. And his fiance said he came back and he talked to her, and shared some things, concerns about their future marriage. And his fiance is like, how's he know? He doesn't know me. like, eh, like it's interesting. Nora, Elaine, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's cool. And then there's also terrifying, well, not really terrifying part of it, but
No, it really is terrifying to people. No, your word. It's terrifying. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. People are amazed, but they're also terrified.
Right. Like, like, so how do you handle that? Like with me.
Well, always remember there's a percentage of truth to it.
Thank you. Right. Like and what I learned growing up, my grandfather didn't tell me this when I was 8. I learned this later on. The more angry, the more upset, the more defensive we get, the more truth there is in what somebody's saying. It's it's mind-boggling to me how people are black and white. We talked about that, I think, before. But the thing that's most fascinating is who do who do I enjoy exposing more than anyone else?
50
Pastures.
year old male.
What's that?
50 plus older people, men.
No, no, I don't. I don't enjoy. They're the worst exposed. They're like babies. No, unless you're talking about one of them specifically. So I like me being exposed more than anybody else. Why is that?
As you can grow.
Okay. Yeah, because once you're exposed, like Nora exposed me on Saturday on the debrief afterwards. And I said, why? Like, son was sick and she didn't get much sleep and she went to Coffee Connection. She's exhausted. She just so, but she still shows up to Coffee Connection. She still goes ahead and goes through the debrief. Others did not. She did. And it's like why, why, like, why are you here, Nora? And Nora, what did you say?
I said we're a team.
I didn't expect Nora to have the exact same tone that she had on Saturday. I was expecting a different tone. So she exposed a vulnerability in me, a weakness in me I haven't realized in 62 years. And what is that weakness?
That you have a hard time getting a team together,
I don't know how to build teams.
that they work together.
I mean, it looks like a team, but it's not. It is not a team. It's not a team.
What is
I,
your explanation of a team?
Nora,
I don't know. I think it'd be like you'd show up for each other. Like if someone's not there, then it affects the rest of them.
So I was stunned. I was blown away. I was absolutely humbled. I was like, felt like a 3-year-old. And it's like, Mark, you're not good at this. I love that. Think with 3 bachelor's degrees in business, you'd think with being a pastor's son, you'd think with being an international speaker, you'd think with all of the credentials, all the other stuff, you'd think I'd be good at building teams. I'm not. I suck at just suck at it. I can't even do it. I cannot even do it in my own family. Soon after Ginger Ann was married, she moved to our oldest daughter. She moved to Michigan. And we were talking, and I said to her, so how do you like moving? And she's like, I like it, Dad. And how's the marriage? Good. Okay. And everything going good with his family and everything. She says, it is. I said, so do you like living there and being around his family? She said, I do. I said, that's really cool, honey. And I said, what do you like most? And she said, they're there for you, Dad. And I'm like, it's really cool. I'm glad that my daughter, is in a place where people care for her, where she feels cared for. She feels like she's a part of a team. So I asked Nora, I said, so have you felt like you're part of a team? And she said she had. And I said, when was that? And she said, well, back, when I was, a teenager, I was bussing tables and, there were 4 of us. And if one didn't show up, then it put more weight on the other 3. So what Nora, yeah. So it took 20 years of coffee connections. There was that moment in time. So if Elaine hadn't pushed it, it probably wouldn't have happened. Because it's just, I don't know. And if Nora hadn't been there, it wouldn't have happened. It exposed potentially the biggest. People are funny. People are strange. I mean, there are so many memories. There's so many stories that I have. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Oh, if you want, here's a little tidbit I can share with you. If you want to have people wonder if you're God, what do you think you are, God? If you want to go ahead and have, what do you think you are, perfect? I know how to get people to do that to you, if any of you are interested. No? You guys aren't interested?
How do you do it?
You quickly see your mistakes and quickly acknowledge them and apologize if necessary. But more important than an apology is fixing it. Don't do it again. Just don't do it again. Don't do it again. And so, because people forget when you sincerely apologize. I mean, sincerely apologize, like the apology protocol. Maybe that'll be in here. From my friend Patrick Ryan. Like when you sincerely, like it's like you're not going to do it again. You're like, I'm going to figure out how to make sure I don't do it again. I'm not going to do it again. When you're sincerely about that, people will go ahead and think you're perfect. They'll think you think you're God. No, just trying to figure out where I'm wrong. And it's like, it's weird. It's like when you sincerely apologize and don't have it happening, people forget that you ever made the mistake. It's just strange. Seems like a smart thing to do, right? but but people don't. I mean, people apologize a lot, but they do the same thing again. And then when they do it again, they go ahead and attack you. 9Ds kick in and they attack you. They say, "What? You think you're perfect? Nobody's perfect." Like, sorry, I thought you apologized. I thought so. An apology, when somebody says I'm sorry, it means something very different to me, I guess, than normal people. With me, I think when somebody's sorry, when they're apologizing, they're saying it's not gonna happen again. It's just not. I don't know if any of you remember, did I talk about Ginger Ann when she was 16, 15, yeah, 16 years old? Did I share that story? I thought I did. Anyways,
I don't
maybe
know
you
if
got
on this call.
not on this podcast and not in any of
I
these
don't
other
think so.
16. Okay. So I'll share it real quick. Hopefully I didn't. So Ginger Ann, she was like 16 years old. So teenage girl. And she's like, "Hey dad, I need to talk to you about something." I'm like, "Okay, honey. Yeah. We can do it, a little later, maybe before, go to bed." And she's like, "Okay." And thing got away from me and everything. Thing got away from me and everything. And I'm walking upstairs to go to bed, and she's in the kitchen on the couch, or in the living room on the couch, and she's like, "Dad, are we gonna talk?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. I sorry about that, babe. Um, it's been a long day. Can we do it tomorrow?" And she's like, "Yeah, no, it's fine, Dad." And so I went to bed and got up the next morning, and I'm like, "Mark, you're an idiot. You're just an idiot." I woke up. Nobody had to tell me that. Nobody had to say you're an idiot. I just knew I was an idiot. It's like, that girl, she works really hard to grow and to she's, she just did. And so I apologized to her, when she woke up. I said, "Hey, honey, sorry about that." And she shared it. I don't even remember what it was. And we talked about it, whatever. And, all good, right? I mean, I knew I made a mistake, messed up, and I apologized to her. And I don't know, like 3, 4 weeks later, she had this chip on her shoulder. She just, I don't know, just wasn't like her. But she's a 16-year-old girl, right? That's what 16-year-old girls do. But it's like, there's something different about this. So I remember I went into her bedroom and she's all like sassy and all, whatever. And I'm like, "Honey, is something wrong?" And she's like, "No." And she's all sassy with me. And I'm like, "Sweetheart, you seem different, honey. I mean, did Dad do something wrong? Did I mess something up?" And she says, "Dad, when you didn't talk to me before you went to bed, and my heart was devastated, just broken to a billion pieces." And like now, I just teared up and I just said, "Honey, I I am so sorry, sweetheart." Now, a normal person, I guess, I don't think this is right. I think God created us to go ahead and to be truly sorry. Like I was broken. Like I screwed up. I messed up. But normal people, I guess, what do they do? "Well, I apologize to you. It's not that." No, for crying out loud, I broke her heart. One apology is not going to get the job done. It's just not. I broke her heart. That precious. And I started crying. I said, honey, I am so sorry. And, I apologize and I'm apologizing again, honey. I am so sorry I did that. Like that was just stupid of Dad. Dad's just an idiot. He just is. He just is. And honey, you know what? You are so important to me, and that was such a big mess up. If I need to apologize 100 times, I will, 1,000 times. And what I realized at that moment is that the deeper we hurt somebody, like one apology wasn't enough. That's on. So what people do is when they apologize, it's just people are stupid. Sorry, they just are. Like you hurt somebody really deeply and I'm sorry. And then you flip it. The apology isn't real. You're going to do it again. You're just going to do it in a different way. Okay. You didn't shoot him in the right foot. You shot him in the left. Well, I apologize for shooting you on the right, not the left. Like, it's just like, can you fix it at the core? Like I wasn't, oh, still irritates me. Like it was 21 years ago. And I remember her talking to me and saying, hey, can we talk, Dad? I remember walking by her and pushing it off because I had a rough day. I remember waking up and thinking how much of an idiot. And I don't know, a few months later, I was into a family counseling. So Roseanne and I think Ginger Ann might have even been in. And so we had some of the kids in. And so we were going through some pretty rough time. That'd be an interesting. You guys can bring that up on one of the other ones. That was fascinating. And I told him about that story, and he says, you're too hard on yourself, Mark. Like everybody makes mistakes. I'm like, you're an idiot, buddy. I mean, with all due respect, I didn't say that to him. Naturally, I wouldn't say it to him. But I'm like, he didn't understand. He did not understand my daughter. He did not understand the connection she and I had and have. She just doesn't. Now, something I just realized in the last few years, why does that suck? For Ginger Ann and her husband.
Because not everybody's like you.
Yeah, she's going to think,
And
she's going to think, well, like if my dad is that sensitive to me when I'm 16 and, like he has a pattern. It's not just one time. Like it's a pattern consistently. Like my dad, he works really hard, really, really hard not to hurt people like crazy, like insane, like crazy insane. And I know you got to run, Rosanna, and that's okay. And so he works so hard not to hurt people. But when he does hurt somebody, truly hurts them, like he's gonna, and he apologizes. He's not like he's serious. He's not gonna get defensive. So what it does is if you're a woman and you have a dad like it sucks because you think, well, my husband's gonna be like that. And statistically, probability wise, he's not. He's just not. I don't know why he doesn't. Maybe because he had a heartbreak when he was 16 years old and he never healed from it. I don't know. I don't know why. Like it's just, I don't know why. So the next podcast is going to be really cool, 17. So you might just want to move on. You can see this sooner rather than later. Like it's not brain surgery. This is not rocket science. Like people watch the 2.5-minute video and they're like, oh yeah, I get it. You trust me, you don't. Jim said, I've never seen a guy like this. Like, he's met a lot of people. Tom Kuntz said, I've never met a guy like this. Like never in my life. Traveling all around the world. Peter Mile. There's so many people that have said, I've never met it. This is not ego. This is not ego. I don't even think it's good for me. I wish I was normal. I really do. Like I wish I could see things. Like like I see, this young couple and I see what's going to happen in their marriage. Like before it ever happens. Like I just see it. I don't like to see stuff. I wish I could see it. But I see it and I don't know what to do with it. So I don't know about all of you, but I can't wait till this series is done because this podcast series has been a goofy one. I appreciate y'all. Elaine, Nora, anything else either of you have?
No, I don't think I do.
No.
You guys saving like the best to last or something? Like I don't know, like we have what 21 of these, and so we're almost done. Um, and so um, maybe at the end, you guys. I mean, I don't know. To me, yeah, I don't know. So hopefully, this has been beneficial to you. Keep going. They get better or something. Always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day.